the cover of my itinerary today.
Oh, lovely.
This beautiful American lady who was one of the first to dare to do a plastic surgery to her nose. How you can easily see. They still look all identical. Those manufactured noses are not personal. I think they are very good theoretically, but the result is not so impressive. And she was also injecting paraffin to herself, which is like wax to push the cheeks up, which was a poisoning um, material. And so she was a beauty, but she had very bad problems afterward. But we will discuss about this later. So the exhibition won recently an award in New
Okay,
York in the
okay.
last few weeks. It came second in a bunch of exhibitions, fine art exhibitions all over the world. And this was the first room welcoming us with a recreation of Christian Dior by Jean-Paul Gaultier in 2000, mimicking a woman toilette in the end of the 19th century with this sort of, hmm, how can I describe it? Augmented back. And the two required objects that one lady could not miss in those days when going out were a fancy hat and an umbrella. Instead of men wearing a stick, she was supposed to lean on her umbrella even indoors when moving gently, elegantly around to a reception, maybe by friends in the afternoon. You can contradict me if you have any witness different info, but this was what the art exhibition was telling us about Paris and London. In the background, you see the paintings of Boldini we're gonna describe soon, but I want to show you again this beautiful dress that was very
Okay.
provocative. And Christian Dior used to say that this reminded him a lot of his childhood because he was overwhelmed by the fur coats over aunts and grannies, and he loved those kind of fabrics already when he was a little boy. And that's something that represented somehow his souvenir. And this is Lady Max, um, Charles Max. So ladies in Paris used to use the surname of their husbands. And as you see, Giovanni Boldini was a painter born in Ferrara in 1842, who had a very long life. He died in 1931 at age 89. So almost the same timing of Monet, um, but he did not choose the extravaganza of the independent saloon, etc. He moved from provincial Ferrara to Rome and then Florence in his young days, became part of the Macchiaioli stream in paintings in Firenze, and then moved definitely to London and Paris very soon, never coming back again to Ferrara anymore, not even for the funeral of his parents. Luckily enough, when he died, he had a number of pieces in his atelier that he decided by testament to give to Ferrara as a present. And his widow did all the steps to let us acquire this beautiful ensemble of items, which makes today a part of a very important museum, the Massari Palace, who is unfortunately closed since 2012, since the earthquake. So he married this young Florentine journalist, Italian journalist, in his late days at age 86, and she was 23. So it's incredible that this young lady somehow respected all the will of Boldini, bringing back to Ferrara what we now treasure. And this exhibition also put together a number of private pieces from private collections and fancy museums all around the world. This fabulous portrait pictures a young woman with short haircut in the early days in the 20th century. We will see the fashion moving from La Belle Époque to Charleston days. And this is the new cut that this exhibition gained through the curators, because we had many exhibits about Boldini and it was becoming a little boring for me to walk through them. But this one really was striking because of the original dresses that they could bring in. If you see, this woman is moving, maybe just stepping from a chair or something, and the painter decided to enhance the shape of her hips by letting her do this gesture of collecting the fabric of this beautiful dress together. Look that the shoes are made with the same silk of the dress. She has, how do you say, I missed the term. How would you call these strings that hold the dress? It's
like the shoulder strap?
Yeah,
or
maybe
spaghetti strap. Oh, it's very narrow.
it's not a bra, it's the dress itself, but sometimes
Yeah.
one sleeve could shift in a very sexy way, and he was somehow asking to her posers to let this happen, to give them more allure, more sense of feminine attraction. Look at the detail of the hand. She's wearing a turquoise beautiful ring. So this detail also tells about her status. So she wears the surname of her husband, this Charles Max, I don't know who he was, but it's like a patronymic in Russian that makes the name of the lady even longer. So it was another choice to make the difference between aristocrats or high bourgeois and the common people. This is the first hall, and you see this is an original piece from a tailor company in Rome called Tirelli. You see that this model is on a step. Compared to me, I would be higher up here. So the lady who was wearing this was really tiny. And this is the average size of a human feminine body in the 1860, 1870. This enhancement in the back is called tournure. It was something that was created by a tailor to help ladies to have a sort of pillow on what be able to sit when a chance of sitting was coming, because they had a crinoline underneath the dress, which was made of metal circles to keep the dress open, wide, but they could not sit on metal rings. So this was also implementing a little bit the shape of the physical parts that attract a man normally, but also offering them a sort of comfort. I show you a detail of the fabric because it's beautiful and it's cut in a very irregular way. You see, this is overlapping the second layer. It's a sort of winter kind of dress for mornings spent at the horses races, maybe at the Bois de Boulogne, etc. And in the paintings of Seurat, the Pointiniste, you can see the same type of clothes, of dress, very commonly. This is La Grande Jatte. You know perhaps this very famous painting. And this is Denitis that we met a few weeks ago, describing this young, beautiful woman with a winter coat, her Mastiff dog, walking through the Champs-Élysées, coming from the races tracks. And I would like to show you the detail because you can see some maid, or how do you say, what's the name of the young girl that were looking after baby children? Yeah, nannies walking on a Sunday among friends, girlfriends, but she is on her own with this lovely veil. It's a sort of complicated coiffure, and that makes a sort of big ribbon underneath her chin. And the top of the coat is 3 layers. Very nice. You will see something similar later on too. So the idea of Boldini and some of his concurrent, very talented colleagues, such as Émile Blanche, Paul Euleux, or a Spanish one called Eduardo de la Gandara, had an idea to make how can I say, a direct step into the fashion world that was starting in those days, renting hotels to show new models of clothes to the potential buyers, asking to some lady in the high society to wear them, standing still, not moving like a catwalk, but just standing there with a background, you see, of famous paintings of Boldini and La Gandara. Look at this. I will enhance it a moment if you don't mind. I just get out of this and I want to show you better because it's really intriguing. So you see that we're standing mannequin without head and some live ladies. And these are paintings of Boldini and the other famous ones I just mentioned. So the idea is to create a sort of privé in an atelier to let you admire the dress, how it fits and so on, and to let you buy it. This combination of art and industrial manufacturing, it was completely new, and it struck in this society, obviously having a great success. Therefore, some magazines started photographing all this and using the paintings of Boldini, these two, for example, as a cover, like Vogue today. The only problem you will see was that the magazines had only black and white colors available. So I'll go back to the presentation. Hold on. Yes. Quickly, 1, 2, 3. There we go. This is the Hotel de la Mode or de Mode. One of these spacious environment where these performances were conceived first. And this is a couple of pages of these magazines, female magazines such as Femina, that still existed until a few decades ago. And this is one cover. This is a painting of Boldini, a famous one. This is beautiful lady. He was obviously making his posers a little bit nicer than what they were in reality if they were not so good looking. But some of the ladies we will meet were extremely beautiful, as you can easily imagine. The problem is that a stunning painting, big as a pala of Guercino in an altarpiece, was reproduced by the print only in black and white. So missing the pink, the green, the turquoise of these dresses. The impression is not the same. This is Lady Madrazo Fortuny, the widow of a famous creator of fashion who acquired a palace on the Canal Grande in Venice. Palazzo Fortuny is still there and is a museum today, and is planned to create fabrics is still existing in Venice in the Giudecca on the other side of the canal. She was a widow, so she was dressed in black. But as you will see, she has had enough of this mourning, and she is ready to go back to life, because this tiny detail in pink shows that she is kind of stepping into the life of the society, meetings and parties again. What I would like you to notice is this curious fringe, which is a new hairdo, a new haircut. Look at the details of these earring, and look at the gesture. It's a fantasy of black, different black colors or different reflection given to the black color allow us to understand which material we have in front of us. She's pulling up a leather glove, a very long, elegant one. You see it's opaque because leather doesn't shine as much as silk. And the little mantle she wears has some puffy little pompon in fur. And if you look against the background, you see the little hair in the fur. So she has some pompon here and there that make the blacks in this painting 3 different ones. Look at the white hand with an emerald ring, and another one we don't know, and this golden ring here, bracelet, sorry, etc. And some of these painters, such as Seurat or Paul Leleu, dedicated some moment also to men's fashion. It looks like more as a caricature than a real portrait. This is Baudelaire by Paul Leleu, and you see he has a cylinder hat. And this is the chubby, anonymous passers-by by Seurat. This is Boldini, though. Boldini was a very successful painter. He acquired quickly the same status as his rich customers. So he was going out with them, sharing the same style of life, going to theater with the Degas, to ballet concert, dinners out, everything. He was short and not particularly good looking, but he had an incredible number of lovers, some very famous. And he was obviously dedicating his attention to this kind of customers, rich ladies. But as you will see, he was, I would say, a little bit more talented in realistically portraying men. This is a rich horses, ponies owner. He had tens of them. And this is a close-up look at his special dress. We call it tuxedo or a frock. And the fashion for mustaches, slight difference in color between his hair. He's a little bit overweight, but he tried his best to make him look dignified. This painting was not on show, but we saw it in another exhibition. I love it particularly. This is a physician, a doctor from London, Jewish, very Jewish, there's no doubt about it, with his wife and daughter. But the human warmth that he emanates through the painting is the talent of Boldini's result, even if he captures our attention with this 1/3 of the canvas empty. So we have a diagonal, a sense of movement. He has a Légion d'honneur given from Napoleon III, a very special, how can I say, title that one could acquire for special credits in life. Look at the watch, golden chain going in here, tie and everything. And this is someone you're supposed to know. Have you ever heard of Giuseppe Verdi? Yes. This is the most famous portrait of him. It was on the banknote, 1,000 liras for us for decades. So everybody in Italy knows this image thanks to Boldini. He portrayed Verdi more than one time because they were friends. And this is the maestro, obviously dressed for directing an orchestra in a theater, possibly in La Scala in Milan. I love this particularly too, because it's the box of colors, you see, the leftovers and brushes that he used to paint. And he did this quick portrait of the gardener one day in his house in Paris. So we have this intense, chubby man taking a rest and smoking a cigarette, open trousers because it's too chubby to work with it tightened up, and a vest just to be decent in public. Very special. That's in Ferrara in the collection. This is Paul Leleu making a self-portrait. Oh, sorry, Paul Leleu portrait by John Singer Sargent, an American painter that I like very much, somehow more than Boldini even. And this is a close-up to show you that his style of brushes is not as defined as Boldini, but the speed with which it defines the features of Paul Leleu is undeniably talented. And this is Degas. Edgar Degas portrays seldom men. In this case, we have three young men in a cabaret or a café chantant. They keep on wearing the hat inside, and they are the typical flaneur, which is the new term that defines people who do not need to work to make a living. So these rich young aristocrats spend their time in clubs, drinking, maybe taking drugs, meeting dancers, and so on. Look at this one above all, who is almost asleep, you see, with a very peaceful expression on his face. They were drinking absinthe in those days. And this is another portrait of Paul Leleu by Degas again. Very nice, the color of this lemon here that changes a little bit, this gray background and this clumsy figure of this man who is not especially attractive. And then in the same hole, they wear this little winter coat and mantle. I show you the pictures because the photos I have are not giving enough details for you to appreciate. You should understand that this is a cut made by very high level kind of tailor that is specialized on fur. And this kind of dress has about 130 years. So the fur commonly in a cupboard gets rotten, produces insects that eat the fur. And it's a miracle that these two pieces have survived so beautifully and so long. This is an Amazon suit, how can I say, dress. It's cut in a diagonal, as you can see, and it's really severe, closed up to here, for a lady who wants to ride a horse, sitting on a side, because this is a special saddle. You see, it's from Hermes. Hermes starts as a cuir factory, and this is the two handles on which she would put her legs. Very difficult to ride a horse on an English saddle, very tiny already, and leaning on one side only. So the dress was cut in diagonal to cover better both legs. And you had one, I don't know the name of this, one staffa only. So you cannot press the horse to tell him what to do. Yeah, thank you. So this lady here is an actress of theater and the first movies. Her name is Alice Regneux, and she was famous. She was a beauty. We will see her photos later. And she was a very good amazzone. She was even doing jumps. Imagine, with a bust squeezing your chest to the point that women often could faint, losing oxygen because they could not open their lungs enough. She was jumping over obstacles with the horse, this beautiful horse, you see, and sitting on one side only. Very risky. She's not even pulling here, you see. And she had this beautiful dog that was accompanying her, and this is by Boldini. A few touches and the little teeth and all the details, even a shaved dog, because the fashion of the time required this type of hairdo. How can I say? This was a dress in the art exhibition made for young ladies entering for the first time in the adult world. So like a special dancing to present these new girls in the society, in the public society, also with the tournure, with bustier underneath, very tight, with whale bones or turtle bones. Unfortunately, animals start paying their toll very soon to the fashion world. And these puffy sleeves, as you see here, had a sort of armor inside to keep them open. And this is a whole full of very beautiful young ladies, all portrayed by Boldini. Just this one first. She is an American woman who married a rich French diplomat, and she was portrayed by John Singer Sargent with this elegant black dress, but in the opinion of the husband, Sargent portrayed his wife in a disrespectful way because this décolleté was too deep and she was missing one string here. So this is the bozzetto, the rehearsal, and this is the final version. But the name of Sargent and his popularity diminished because of this critical comment of the husband, and he moved to London, leaving the space to Boldini to acquire new customers. This is the atelier of Giovanni Boldini in Paris. Look, he put a piano to make it look elegant, to give a sort of cultural background to this gathering space. Here there's a painting, a portrait of a man to show that he had other things going on. And this woman has just come to visit the painter, maybe to see how her own portrait was going. This is a big pastel that we will see soon. Or she's considering if it's going to be opportune to have a portrait by Boldini. The thing is that the painter looks at her without her knowing, and he uses his malice, his non-perfect respect for women to tell us that she has lost her aplomb, and she has put her hand on the hip because she's thinking. You see, she is leaning on the umbrella like Berthe Morisot at the Louvre in another famous painting, but she is not as elegant as a woman should officially look like in public. So she is completely in black, over this white pastel that we will see soon. Look how beautiful this girl is. And this is an oil, whilst this is the pastel. This is Emiliana Concha da Ossa, a Chilean young daughter of a diplomat family in Paris that Boldini portrayed several times. So young ladies did not show on the first ballet, how can I say, ball room dedicated to their debut with deep cut in the dress here on the breast, but with some flowers, fresh flowers appointed with pins. And in this very big dimension, Boldini focuses on the hands. She's nervous because she is very emotional for the evening she's gonna face, and so she stresses her fingers, you see, as a young, non so expert woman would do. So very delicate smile, naked shoulders, but not a very deep décolleté. Light color gloves, and she's, yeah, trying to do something to keep the pose. This is the sister, a bit more malicious. She's dealing with a large fan with ostrich feathers, baby ostrich. And this silk green belt makes a nice ribbon here to contrast the pink of the dress and to give a certain evidence to the thin bust that she has. Look at the black gloves. These have some interior in a different color here. It's a pity. I would like to show you. We lose a second, but it's worth it. Oops. Allora. You see, the glove had a little hole to allow the movement, and the leather was completely cut to make this possibility easier, nicer. So she has another detail here. Boldini was sometimes choosing the clothes himself for his models, because he was a sort of dictator. So he decided at a certain point to take personally his models to one atelier or another to choose the dress he thought would fit better the poser. This is the Comtesse de Leus, another aristocrat with a beautiful dress. This painting is in Ferrara, but is one of three that he tried to portray better this woman. Look at this. Normally in a portrait that is supposed to go in your large living room, you face those who look at you. So this is the new. Boldini asks the posers to look aside, which is an effort to try something different and to make evident this beautiful nose in profile. The red color had matched the green in the dress that he expressly had chosen. She has a fan too. The fan is kind of language for a woman in those days. And you wear jewelry over the gloves, the high gloves you have here. This is another pose that she was asked to keep for another painting. And this is a close up of it. I reckon Boldini loved this naked neck and this part of her upper shoulders and the beautiful color of her hair matching, you see, the pink cheeks and every detail of a young face. But the final painting that was chosen by the sitter was this one, which is out of the three, the one I like most too. Look at the ostrich fan, look at the jewel here, and this beautiful color for the glove that contrasts but matches the green. This one is called the firework. It's a painting that portrays one young woman with the type of dress we have seen. But you see, the hands are not even painted. The kind of brush touch is very rapid, very vigorous, and the background is not even finished. It's something that makes Boldini appear close to the futurism, but futurism will come in the 30s. So we're still talking about the 80s of 1880. This is the woman. Boldini has a preference for brunette with dark color eyes. And these are samples of fan which were in the exhibition on show, something that survived another 100 years or more, incredibly. Look at this one. It's almost golden pink. And these are the whale beads to hold the different nerves for the feather. This one is, again, Alice Regneux, the actress we met before on horseback. But in here, she is in the intimacy with Boldini. So she accepted an invitation and she undressed. This is so transparent that live you could see the nips under this very soft, light veil. She's wearing a bustier, but as you see, her expression is a lot more vivid. And once Boldini has captured this and the right arm, he doesn't have time to finish the painting because obviously he wants to kiss and embrace this beautiful woman he has there. So he leaves everything undone. And that's how we got the painting today. This is a photo of those days of Alice Regneux. She's cute, as you see, very intense. And this is a bustier that came into the art exhibition. So underwear starts being colorful. And that's the trick, because men start knowing that underneath a white or pink dress, maybe there's something different. So this is another pastel by Paul Leleu that shows us a woman undressing. And evidently the intrigue is by this part of naked back and neck. Look at this. It leaves something here and there unsaid, but you know where we are going to. That's the same time when Oscar Wilde writes the drama Salome. And here, sorry, you have a proper dedication from him to Paul Verlaine. So it's quite a circuit of people, very famous, getting together in private houses, knowing each other's, commenting. This is another portrait by by Émile Blanche of a young man in England. It's one of the gay circuits that Oscar Wilde had created in London. Not obviously plain to be admitted, because they were still going to jail for homosexuality, but it was obviously well known to everybody. This is a stick that was in the exhibition from the Musée of Art Décorative of Paris. Look how beautiful this handle is with the Sphinx. It's from the Mannerist frescoes of early 16th century. And this is Robert de Montesquieu, another very famous writer who owned historically a stick that had belonged to the King of France, Louis XV. And this is a very elegant dress he wears with, how do you call these buttons? We call them twins, gemelli in Italian. You put them on your shirt. I don't know that. And that's
cufflinks.
Okay, grazie. It's the same turquoise as the handle. And I'll show you a close-up of the gloves because they deserve. Look at the mustaches, the hairdo. This man is really elegant, very good looking. And this is a sort of, we call it mouse tail in Italian. The carabinieri have it on the trousers they wear in the uniform. It's a sort of a round thing that you can sew on a dress, but these gloves had it on the rim of each finger, and it's golden. Look at this. And this is the hole to move your breast when inside. You see? This is the coda di topo, la coda di topo. And questi sono I gemelli. This is a portrait of two photos of Robert de Montesquieu. And you can easily dig it was gay too, with fur coats, with the cat, leather, strange attitude, very elegant and very keen of himself. And here we have some of his novels, Les Hortensias Bleues, and something written by Whistler, James Abbott Whistler, who was holding a conference in London about Boldini. So they were not enemies, even if they were concurrents. They were friends. This is a portrait that Boldini offered to Whistler, which is world famous. Everybody that thinks of Whistler today thinks of this very happy expression, very friendly, this wild eyebrow, and he wears a monocle, one lens, and he's ready to go to the theater. He's kind of impatient, a little bit scruffy. This is how people recall him, waiting for Boldini to be finished to go. He has his coat on his arm ready, and this is again La Légion d'honneur. This red dot on his suit is this distinctive prize from the king. Whistler is very famous for this painting of him portraying his mother on a rocking chair. Very, very well known all over the world. And this is again Robert de Montesquieu, Paul Euleux, or La Gandara. This is the sketch, and this is the oil after the sketch. But as you see, the painting of Boldini is way better. Look at this. This is a big difference. Okay, so let's go on. In this hall, there were other portraits of men, but there's this beautiful lady too. We don't know the name. Some of these sitters are just known by the initial of their name. So Lady SM, Lady TR something, because they wanted to stay anonymous. You see how deep this décolleté goes, and she has fresh roses on one side. The legs are not so attentively described as much as the upper part of this portrait. So this is what Boldini does when he becomes like a routine chain production of such paintings. Some ladies are very similar. The pose varies little. The hands are always nervous, very lively, and the shoes most of the times are matching the colors of the dress. That was very important in that society. This one is Donna Franca Florio, this famous beautiful woman of a as much famous Sicilian billionaire who owned a tonnara, a factory of tuna fish that became historical in Italy. He made a drama out of this portrait because he felt that his wife was too naked. Imagine Sicily in the 90s of 2 centuries ago, very conservative. So she had to change the painting that was added of some extra parts not to show her so naked. But you see, the lady is kind of beautiful. This is the husband of Colette, this famous French she writer. And he lives out of the richness of the wife. Is a little bit overweight, very elegant coat, gloves, very clean nails. We cannot, I don't have any close-up of this, but I can guarantee that it shows he was not a worker in the fields. He was a man that had a manicure almost every week. This is a close-up of his red cheeks, maybe a little bit of wine or high blood pressure, and some funny details. This hat is not fitting him completely, which shows that Boldini was not completely respecting him, but was kind of wanting to mock him a little bit. And this is another gay representative of the enclave in London by John Singer Sargent. Sargent decided to portray this guy with this huge, beautiful coat, winter coat, but the painting required a few months, and he ended up wearing it in June and July, and he lost a lot of weight because he was dying under
So
these
he lost a lot of weight
clothes.
because he's dying.
And this is a famous journalist
Famous
called
journalist
Sam.
called Sam.
There's an echo. Somebody maybe has the
If
open.
someone mutes their volume.
Oh, Sarah, maybe it's something resounding. I don't know if you can help me. Yeah. So this guy has a different type of hat now. The fashion has changed. That's what we call bombetta. I don't know in English the term. He's provocative, so he wears the stick upside down. He has a leather, uncolored modern boots, and the trousers are wrapped around. You see, like we say, a fisherman that goes in high water. It's very typical in Italy to mock someone for wearing this kind of trousers, but the raincoat, it's kind of Burberry with this beautiful silk inside, and he has two red points to match his smart look. He was a caricaturist on newspapers in France. And this is a very elegant lady that goes visit again in Boldini's atelier. This kind of sofa comes again and again in his paintings. And you see the lady keeps wearing the gloves, keeps wearing the hat, even indoors. And she wears the umbrella on her lap. Rosas, a veil over her face. All these details have changed a little bit the hairdo, but it's complicated to wear everything. So if you take off your hat, then you need a toilette again to fix it. So they were staying dressed. This is another famous Italian actress of the period. And this is Cléo de Mérode, étoile de ballet à Paris, de l'Opéra. Again, she's posing because she knows now how to pose. Photographers were there already. The clothes becomes a little bit more comfortable. There's no more bustier worn underneath. And this strange collier is now different than the kind of jewelry we have seen before. It goes tight around the neck, suggesting something more sensual, and then going down deep in the décolleté indicates, obviously, where the look of a man should go. This is a typical pose of photographers until the 80s of last century, 1980. In New York, I have a friend, he used to put his sitters in the same pose in his atelier in New York, down in the Bowery. And this is Sarah Bernard, a famous actress. Maybe you've heard her name before. She was very beautiful and young here, but Boldini chooses to look at her from behind, just to enhance the fantasy of this shirt. Look at the many buttons here over the wrist, and something different, something lively. And this is again Cléo de Mérode, the étoile of the Ballet de l'Opéra that we just met. And you see that the painting of Boldini has become almost informal. It's nearly abstract. The background is disappearing. There's just a brush touch or two to describe her body. That is kind of transparent here. And she has this sexy pose. Look at her eyes. This is a lady a little bit more mature that asks Boldini a portrait, but she cannot count on her beauty. So she shows all her jewelry instead. And this is a bozzetto, just a drawing to prepare a portrait of a young woman in her atelier. You see um, the coat has three sides of color. How can I call it? But what I want to attract your attention to is this bust here. Can you see it? It's a bust that portrays a cardinal, and this belongs to Bernini. It's a chalk, so it's a preparatory for a marble bust that Bernini actually did in Rome. And this was in possession of the Uffizi in Firenze. At a certain point, when Boldini became so famous, the Uffizi asked him a self-portrait to put it in the Corridoio Vasariano, along with tens of other portraits of important Italian artists. He was not just extremely pleased to be required this self-portrait. He decided to provoke the Uffizi, asking something in exchange, and he focused on this bust of Bernini that the Uffizi decided to give him, incredibly. He used to position this bust in his bedroom to attract the young ladies in to show them the bust of Bernini. And then in the back, I know it's very little, but there's again the same painting we saw before of Franca Florio with the décolleté. Here we go. That's a coat similar to the one that the girl was wearing, still original. And this is another evolution in fashion for a night event, a ballet. You see the colors become more varied, and the shape of the dress is less tightened. So you have some details here. You have paillettes now, you have velvet flowers, and a little bit less constricting bustier. This is a close-up, and this is another beautiful young woman sitting on one chair in Boldini's atelier that has this beautiful swan head. It's the style of Napoleone the first. It's called imperial style. And you see that the arms are naked now, no more gloves, large décolleté, and a little bit of a fur here. Look, just a detail to show you the armchair. And this is a dress that was made more recently in the 60s of last century by Luchino Visconti for one of his movies. The actress that used to wear it for the movie had not the sizes of ladies in the 19th century, so they had to do it larger. It doesn't show because it has this large contrast in color, this ribbon, but she was not absolutely able to fit in the bustier that we saw before. So this is another fantastic original dress instead. We are already at the verge of the century, at the end of La Belle Époque, and this is made out of thousands of beads that had to be knitted by the hand on the entire surface of the dress. Look at this. No? This is a painting of Boldini that offers the same idea, a contrast ribbon in the back to enhance the shape of the model itself. This is Eulalia Infanta de España, the daughter of the King of Spain, possibly inheriting the kingdom. Eulalia was not a very good-looking woman, but Boldini did his best to portray her, and he decided also to change the dress she had chosen for the portrait from black. He took her to a fancy couturier in Paris and decided that this purple was matching the green of her eyes. This is Lady Marlborough, the mother of this child, who was the cousin of Winston Churchill, and she broke up with her husband. They divorced soon after this painting of Boldini was made. Look how beautiful this way of portraying mother and son is, and how new is the look that lets us see the parquet, the floor and the walls. It's kind of rotating type of vision that has to do with the fact that Boldini was aware of the fact that Picasso in those days was trying to let people see two different plans on the same painting, the cubism. He never obviously joined that stream, but he was kind of trying to change the way he was focusing on his sitters before. And these are two things with the same color in leather. This is a cover of a book of Marcel Proust, who was one of the gang as well. One of the many books he wrote, saga, and this is Du Côté de chez Swann. And these shoes have to do with his novel, because dans La Recherche du Temps Perdu, he quotes a woman, a married woman, that the main character is falling in love with. And meanwhile, he describes to the woman his souvenir, his first souvenir of her, the first time he saw her, telling her what dress she was wearing. She, not understanding the curting up of the main character, answers him that she remembers the dress, but she remembers a quarrel with her husband because she had decided for a pair of black shoes instead of pink that matched the dress. So the husband sent her back into the house to change them. This kind of aristocratic women traveled a lot with an incredible number of suitcases of Louis Vuitton already kind of brand. So this rich woman here had like 19 suitcases when she was staying at the best hotels in Paris, and one suitcase was just for shoes. She was traveling with some 90 pairs of shoes along with herself. This is portrait of an anonymous woman that fits pretty much the story of Marcel Proust and the shoes that we just saw. Look how beautiful she is, this velvet, carnation velvet. And these are new dresses in a different style now, more softly falling down and less tighten. If you look at this, you see that there's no bustier underneath anymore, just a belt and some decorations in new materials now. This is another sample. This is a belt that goes down like a piece of jewelry. There is also glass decorations on the rim of the fabric. Look at this. And these are new types of paillettes with plastic decorations on top that make like a jewel. And this is again Gladys Deacon, this American beauty that decided to try plastic surgery. I want you to notice a couple of things. The jewel on her neck points directly to the breast, and she has a fan, but now the language of the fan closed, it's really a cliche, like waiting for someone to pick her up. And she has stockings, which is a new thing. The dress is shorter, lighter, and then underneath she has the heel visible. You can see here the transparent stockings in black. And this is La Signora in Rosa. Again, a Chilean member of that diplomat's family that I mentioned before, that were friends with Boldini. And this woman will stay forever as beautiful and young as we see her in this painting. This was the advantage of being portrayed by Boldini. She has some untouched eyebrows in the style of Frida Kahlo. Ladies were not shaving or pulling her hair in those days, but she looks beautiful too. And the shoes are made with the same silk of the dress. Then again, Boldini creates a new term to define a woman who is fatal, who is risky, a type who is very attractive and determined, like this one here. He calls her diva. Diva is a recreation of the term goddess in Latin, and this is the way a lot of gay friends joke about today too. Look at her face. She's really serious. New type of hat now, the kind of type you see at the horses races, at Ascot even today, and so on. And she holds, see the umbrella, like a performer, a magician, something like this. This one is Marquise Luisa Casati, a young and crazy woman who married a very rich and much older man in Venice. And then she eventually came out with her, different type of sexuality. She was lesbian, and she was going around in Venice with this beautiful Doberman dogs. Sometimes she had a live python wrapped around her body, and two black, almost naked servants walking with her. And she was using belladonna to put in her eyes to make her black eyes look bigger, because this kind of poisoning drop was dilating the iris. So she's a kind of a crazy character. She is the one in the photo in black and white that I posted on Instagram this week, and she is the one we will see soon in her final paintings of Boldini. Then we had a series of beautiful hats at the exhibition. This one, unfortunately, asked the life of a bird of paradise, just to make a small decoration for your hairdo. And this is again baby ostrich feathers, colored with veil, and then other interesting creations. Look at this. It was a room full of such hats, and these are some sketches by Boldini. This woman is beautiful with her light color eyes. And another one, and a vivid portrait of this one. But this is Paul Leleu, for instance. So even Boldini's colleagues were very talented at the time. It must have been difficult for a woman to choose by who be forever portrayed. This is a Russian expat in Paris with her two little dogs walking in the Bois de Boulogne. You see, she wears stockings again, and she has now this long collier necklace in the style, pure style of Charleston. She has short hair, feather here. I'll show you. Yeah, beautiful. Huh? The Pekingese dogs is fantastic. Just 2 brush strokes and is there. This is a famous couple, the Leidig husband and wife, asked Boldini a double portrait, but they divorced before it was finished. So the painting stayed in the atelier of the painter for the rest of his life, and we acquired it in Ferrara at the end. And these are the clothes, the dresses that were in the final haul. The Japanism comes, and this Asian kind of bag now covers the body of the woman without marking any more feature. You see, it's really easy to fit in a sort of dress like this, no matter if you're skinny or a little chubby. These are beautiful dresses that belong to Ida Rubinstein, a Jewish étoile of the Russian ballet of Bangst and Diaghilev, who came to Venice too. And Boldini tried desperately to have an option, an opportunity to portray Ida Rubinstein, but she decided for another painter, so there was no chance for him. In this art exhibition, there was also this beautiful box here with this ampoule of perfume. That is the first moment when couturier maison decided to attach the name on an essence, a perfume artificially made expressly for the maison. So we have the Maison Puire that creates the first branded perfume. Now it's very easy to think of the step that Christian Dior or everyone else have made after to make money in the industry of fashion. And this is Ida Rubinstein by De la Gandara. Beautiful painting. And unfortunately, our famous Boldini had no chance to portray her. This is a Delphos creation by Mariano Fortuny. It's a famous dress that became an icon of this kind of women, Ida Rubinstein, Luisa Casati, and so on. It's silk, tiny, tiny, folded on itself. It's like, how can I say, a plissé. And you look at this beautiful, buttons and decorations that make the dress feel properly with the gravity. In Venice, in the Museum Fortuny, there's still some samples of this kind. This is Ida Rubinstein in a famous pièce. She performed the martyrdom of Saint Sebastian. So she was dressed as a man, a Roman warrior. And that's how Boldini wanted to portray her. But as I said, she did not like it. And this is the moment photographers jump in this scenario, changing it forever. This is again Man Ray at the very beginning with one of these famous actresses. And even the debut ballet or ball night is different now because the young girls wear completely different dresses. I remember in the 60s when I had birthday, my mom was putting me a velvet kind of dress of this kind. And you see short stockings, very unexpected. These two sisters are, again, the daughters of a famous rich family that Boldini was working for. You see the Charleston kind of hairdo with short hair, and the fashion is dramatically different. But this is the final painting that closed the exhibition with this triumphant and incredibly strange Marchesa Luisa Casati that used to create her own hairdo. In this one with peacock feathers, for instance, you can see the eye has this especially dilated iris, and here there's a lot of color. It's a very unexpected change in Boldini that has about 86 years when he paints this, and it's the same time when he marries the young journalist aged 23. He is ready for another step into modernity. The painting is completely informal. It's materic, it's full of color here, and in some parts here there are drops of leaking color. So if he had lived a little bit longer, maybe he could have met an abstract version of his style of portraying these incredibly beautiful women. So I hope you liked this promenade through the exhibit. If you have some questions, I'm here. I want to point your attention on the fact that she has colorful lac on her nails. You see, this is the first time we have it on a painting. She has red, I don't know the name, I'm missing some terms, polish on her.
Nail polish.
Yeah, on her nail. Okay, so thank you for being with me another time. I hope you enjoyed. I'm not sure I'm gonna make one next weekend because we try to go out with a small group to the Jewish cemetery. But you will see my newsletter during the next few weeks. Okay.
I have a question for you. Have you ever
Yeah.
been to the Boston Public Library?
No.
John Singer Sargent is a local son, you know,
Yeah.
and he's got a mural on the 3rd floor of it that's astonishing. It's all religious themes.
Oh.
But not just one. It's like Catholic and Jewish and Islamic and Roman, and it's amazing.
I must look for it. Yeah, I know he was Jewish. Yes. And
I don't even know whether he was Jewish. I don't know that.
Zinger is a typical Jewish surname, like the sewing machine. And he was gay too, obviously. And he was so incredibly talented. We had an exhibition in Ferrara years ago with a fantastic ensemble of paintings of him. It was really a very nice discover. Him and Sorolla, this Spanish painter. Unfortunately, the exhibition about Sorolla was stopped abruptly by the earthquake.
Yeah.
The first shake, the people who had lent the paintings stayed waiting, and the second shake they said no, let's have back all the paintings. And so it closed too soon, unfortunately. It was a beautiful exhibition. So maybe I'll consider going through it again one day. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Grazie.
That was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
We
Ciao.
will.